My sister Gail went to the academy. I followed. People came from all different backgrounds. It was a much smaller community in those days.
So everybody kind of knew everybody. Rabbi Matanki was a classmate of mine in the same year. He went to the academy, and I was at the yeshiva, but had friends who went to the academy, and certainly back then and still is the big rivalry between the yeshiva and the academy in basketball. Although we got slaughtered every year, that was part of the tradition.
I feel that I got a wonderful foundation to build my life on as the academy, and I was hell-bent on having that for my kids also.
We knew and expected, and I think we bore out that they would get a well-rounded education to prepare them for college, and for Israel, and for life. I think they all picked up the importance of being involved, committed to other people, to the community.
Each of our kids, when they went on to college, each were a part of something in that university. Whether it was a committee for the basketball tournament, the Hillel basketball tournament, or it was working at the Hillel itself. It was a big part of their existence, just the same that it was when they were here at the academy. And they are, each of them, so accomplished, and they are all leading a life that we think the academy fostered.
Barbara and Steve are role models not just to me and to Rebecca, they're also role models for the community at large.
They're really great people. They've stepped in my life in hard times and really kind of taken the parental role when you need it.
Barbara and Steve definitely embody the kind of people that we want to be in everything that they do.
My parents have certainly been involved in almost every organization, anything that we have slightly the slightest anything to do with. So always seeing that example had its effect on me.
My mother-in-law, Barbara, was always around doing art projects for the school. And then Steve always came freshman year and he did like a whole class on the lungs, and that was terrifying, but it was a good class.
It always felt good seeing them come in the building, seeing them in our space, and that they cared to be present. Made it more of not just a place where I was going to get my education and be with my friends, but also a place where my family was involved.
For my parents, you had to be involved in something, whether you were on a team or you were, part of the yearbook, part of the newspaper, whatever it was, the studies were part of it, but you had to be a part of the greater community.
The academy represents who Barbara and Steve are, and Barbara and Steve aren't content to just sit back and let other people do the work. They both get involved. Steve is president of the academy, Barbara with her many artistic projects to help make this school beautiful, and they talk the talk and walk the walk.
Luckily for the academy, Barbara and Steve have a lot of wonderful skills and a lot of wonderful characteristics. I admire and always will admire Barbara's creativity. She's used her artistic skills to do great things for this community.
Art was always present in our home, so for whatever class that we had to make a project, I'd say we had very little say as to what went into those. I've had a lot of dioramas that started off like simple stick figures that went into like full-scale costume, painted, multimedia, everything.
Her art is very lively and it's very colorful, which is what, when you think of Barbara, that's what you think of. Because really what she does stuff, and even menial things, she does it, happily and with that smile.
You need a centerpiece, you need a backdrop, you need a free art studio. Barbara's there. She's always up for every challenge, and the most important thing is she never says no, she gives it her all.
Steve doesn't get enough credit at all. He's amazing. He's an unbelievable father-in-law. I'm saying, obviously, we've talked a lot about Barbara, so I'm going to bring it to Steve for a second. He's an unbelievable father-in-law. He is such a good grandfather also, and he's quite a role model in that capacity.
Steve stepped to the plate as being chairman of the ICJA Executive Board, giving of his time and having to really be the arbiter of numerous things. And of course, he expressed Barbara's opinion in everything that he did.
Well, like most married couples, she keeps him in line.
I feel like Steve sometimes has to hold on to Barbara's ankles when she's a visionary, you know, and I feel like Steve grounds her a little bit.
The saying of azer kenegdo, which means a helper against him. So how can you be a helper and then also be against him? So I guess sometimes the wife needs to step up when the husband is wrong and, you know, push him in the right direction. And I think Barbara does a really good job.
They're good for each other. They're good. They're two totally different personalities. Barbara's a little stronger personality, and Steve is strong, but in a much quieter way, and it really works well for the two of them.
They just fit together so well, and it makes sense because the Geller and Robinson family, everyone knows, they're iconic families from Chicago that supported the whole Jewish community here in Chicago and in Israel, and why wouldn't Barbara and Steve do the same thing? And they are.
That's the example they show, and that's the life they live, and those are the values that the Academy teaches. The values of the Academy run in the veins of Barbara and Steve to such a great extent.
I am an Academy graduate, and let me tell you, the school has come a long way from the building on Wilcox and Crawford. You can't imagine how amazed I was walking into the building and how proud I am that it exists because of the efforts and dedication of people like Steve and Barbara.
We grew up together going to a religious Zionist organization called B'nai Akiva, and we spent our summers in Camp Moshiva.
We're just proud to be their friends. They set such a wonderful example for all of us in terms of their chesed, in terms of their menschlichkeit, and their hearts are just as big as can be.
They are people who are true leaders. Steve in his quiet way, and Barbara in not so quiet of a way, but with her artistic ability, and together their excitement for life. We've had the opportunity to work together on behalf of a community that we believe in.
My mom graduated from the Academy, Barbara graduated from the Academy, our kids, and we now have two great nieces who are in the Academy. So with 4 generations, you know, I think the Academy has shown over the course of time the product that it produces, and the long history and tradition of the Academy speaks for itself.
I think it's really important to stress what we are, which is modern Orthodox. We have this strong connection to Eretz Yisrael, we have a strong connection to the Torah and the mitzvot, but we are very enmeshed in the secular world. And this is a good place to be. And it's a place that we're proud to be.